what I was saying was I feel a lot more comfortable on my own stream compared to like other people's streams, but at the same time I feel a lot more comfortable like when I'm on a podcast and stuff like that. But the only problem I've always had is when I go on like other people's streams and shit, I'm not like I'm not assertive in a sense, like I don't push myself to like interrupt people and shit like that. That's one thing I like struggle with, because I honestly do have like good opinions on certain things and shit. It's just I never reach a certain like point where I'm able to like put my input in, and then before the conversation, you know, transitions over to something else. But I do like doing like the podcast and stuff like that. The only thing that really frustrates me is like all those trolls and shit that anytime I try to do like a podcast on my own stream and shit, I get like a bunch of trolls and shit. People that legitimately don't even want to like, you know, actually do a podcast. It frustrates me. Don't get me wrong, like those guys are literally just trying to like be funny and shit, but it's not moving soon, because being under this shit is bad connection.
See about 65% of the Zoom together, and all you'll have to do is sit back and relax. Now, I'd like to thank you guys for choosing to spend your day with us, and let me hear you. Do I have anybody who it's their very first day at our Zoom? All right, we got one person. Yes, thank you. I know, it's the end of the day. You don't need to show too much enthusiasm. I understand. But I am actually a local San Diegan. I've grown up coming here to our Zoom pretty much my whole life. Conservation research, leading the fight against extinction. And you guys are helping us do that here. Just be with those tickets and those memberships, because we are a nonprofit. Now we'll start on our right-hand side. This is our iconic Flamingo Lagoon. This lagoon has been here since the beginning, welcoming our guests with those vibrant colors. We did begin 104 years ago. We just celebrated that this summer. So we're pretty proud of that. I think we look pretty good for 104. Right ahead of us, you'll see our Sky-Fari Trail. Those are those buckets up top. They're going to take you to the west side of the park, kind of by the northern frontier. They'll give you some awesome views of downtown San Diego and Balboa Park. And it is included in your admission tickets. So I do recommend it. And those run until the Zoo closes. The inlay inside the bus. We're going to get very close to some vehicles and some plants. The bus is stopped, or at least slowly rolling. If you have that map that you got this morning, we are right alongside Tiger Trail right now. So that's where we're driving. Now I've said Tiger Trail and Tiger River, and it does look like we have two of our Malayan tigers out. Right about parallel with me, you'll see this top right-hand corner. You can see one of them snoozing, and then one of them taking a walk around in the back. Now we have three Malayan tigers here. We have Connor, Cheetah, and Varani. They are all boys, and they are all brothers. They do share a mother. Their mother's name is Mek. Now Mek is part of our Species Survival Plan, or the SSP. So that Species Survival Plan is essentially our Match.com for our endangered animals. It's the way we pick out that perfect match to make sure we have healthy offspring, just like our three boys here. Now, as I was saying, Mek, their mother, she was a superstar for the Malayan tigers. She had 11 offspring, and we were very excited about that. Pardon me, we were very excited about that because Malayan tigers are critically endangered out in the wild. Also, you can see another one taking his, he woke up right under that tree there in the center. They are critically critically endangered in the wild, mostly due to human encroachment into their habitat and poaching. So we've been working with all types of tigers here. We've been lucky enough to have over 100 tiger cubs born. So we are very proud of our work with our tigers and hope to have even more cubs to come. Alrighty. Now, as you can see earlier, how we saw those two walking around back there, that was Cheetah and Barani. There are two 6-year-olds. They're still living together because they're not quite at that age yet where they want their own space. The one in the center that we just saw, that was Connor. So he lives solitary because tigers are solitary in the wild, so he does like his own space. Alright, now we're coming up on Hippo Trail. So we'll see our okapi about eye level with the lower deck here. Let's see if we can find anybody else. We also have our river hippos down below in the water. We have 2 river hippos. We have Otis, our male, and Funani, our female. They do spend about 15 to 16 hours underwater every single day. But we also have our okapi, so we do have one of them out right now. You can see him munching on something behind that tree. These okapi, they kind of look half horse, half zebra. They have those stripes on their backside. We can't quite see from here. We'll see if maybe he moves for us. But because of those stripes on their backside, a lot of people think they're related to the zebra. But they're not. If I told you they have a long prehensile tongue, prehensile meaning they can grip onto things with it, and that tongue can get up to 16 inches long. Can you think of another animal with that same kind of tongue? It is the giraffe. So their closest cousin and actually only living relative is the giraffe. And if you've ever watched an okapi or a giraffe eating, and you've watched them closely, as one does, you'll notice their tongue is actually black. It is black for sun protection. They use it so much, it needs to be protected from the sun. Now as we come by, you might be able to peek underwater, under this awning, see our river hippos. Ooh, I do think I see one of them swimming around down there right now. Actually, I shouldn't say swimming. They don't know how to swim. For the amount of time they do spend underwater, they don't know how to swim, so they will walk along the bottom of the lagoon. And as I was saying, we have our male and female in there. They do have a baby together. His name is Tony. He's about 2 years old. He recently left our facility because he was old enough to separate from Mama. So he left. Mom and Dad were put back together, and we have our fingers crossed for another baby river hippo. Alright, now our next exhibit, we're going to have our multi-species exhibit. We have red-tailed monkeys, swamp monkeys, and spotted-necked otters in here. Oh, and we do have one of our red-tailed monkeys up top there. You can tell the red-tailed monkeys because they have that red tail. And then, like I said, we do have swamp monkeys in here as well. These multi-species exhibits are really great for our animals. They're a great way our keepers have come up with to create an enriching experience. And when we say that, we mean an experience that encourages them to touch on natural behaviors and natural instincts that they will exhibit out in the wild. We do prioritize animal welfare here, so we'll be talking about those different enriching experiences you can find for all of our animals. There's some really fun ways our keepers have come up with to create those. On our right now, you'll see this big red lollipop sign. This is map location marker number 15. You can find these map location markers throughout the zoo, and you can find the corresponding number on your map. So it's a great way to find where you're at in our very large zoo on that very tiny map. Now next to number 15 back here, we have our Asian cat exhibit. So that's where our Amur leopards live, and that's just right next to these restrooms that we just passed. But again, that's where the Amur leopards live. Those Amur leopards are one of the rarest cats in the world. There is believed to only be about 40 to 60 left out in the wild. So we are trying to stabilize their populations in zoos before we re-release them throughout Russia and China, where they're from. So because we're trying to stabilize that population, that does mean we have a breeding program. And with a breeding program comes babies. If you visit that Asian cat exhibit, you'll see our 2 Amur leopard cubs. They are just over a year old now. They're the same size as their mom, just about, but all 3 of them are still living together. So it's really fun to see that interaction of all 3 of them. They will eventually separate because they do live solitary out in the wild. And if you'd like to find out more about different animals we are working with, like our leopards and our tigers, you can check out our website. It's called endextinction.org. It's a really great resource to see everything that's happening here at our zoo. If you'd like to get involved in any projects or donate to the Wildlife Conservancy, that can all be done through endextinction.org. Now we're heading up this hill towards the northern frontier. But first we'll peek over, look through these trees, see if we can find our Remy zebra or our giant eland. They do share this next exhibit. Let's see if we have them out right now. It does. Oh, we're going to get great views of our Remy zebra there. And then we also have the giant eland. He's in the back. He's not the one standing right in front of the Remy zebra. The giant elands are the big tan guys. They are the largest species of antelope. They have those really tall, curly horns. And then, like I said, you can check out those awesome stripes of our Remy zebra. And then we have our lesser kudu and our Sphinx gazelle. You can see the lesser kudu are the ones with those thin white stripes on them. And keep your eyes out for our baby. We did have a baby lesser kudu born within the last few weeks. So they do look a lot like Bambi, all wobbly legs. Now let's tuck into the northern frontier and see if we have our polar bears out. We're going to have 3 bears. We have Chinook, our female, and then Kaluk and Takik, a brother and sister pair. You guys see anybody out right now? No bears. So they recently redid this exhibit, and our polar bears have really enjoyed the other side of the exhibit. So we're happy for the bears over there, but it's not great for our bus tours. One awesome thing they did add, though, was they added a snow machine, and we're very excited about it because that means these bears get snow 365 days out of the year. So we're very, very excited for that project. Now we are going to head up. But I'll talk about them just a little bit because I know it does sound or it seems kind of weird having polar bears in such a warm climate here in San Diego. But our keepers keep them very comfortable. They're kept on a nice lean diet. So they get lean meats and lean veggies. You might see a lot of romaine lettuce, carrots, and yams scattered throughout their exhibit. That's a big part of their diet. And that really helps fill them up, but it keeps that beach bod for San Diego. This is opposed to their more natural diet in the wild, which is mainly ringed seals.
Yeah, no
so
kidding,
much
Dubs.
fattier diet. And on our right, we have our Bontebons. They're these guys right down here. Let's see. Always one of my favorite names to say, the Bontebons. Oh, we do have some of that very back right corner. You can check them out. If you see a little orange fuzzy guy, he's our baby Bontebon. And next we have our Gerenuk. These are those ones with those beautiful long necks. They are referred to as the giraffe neck gazelle, so you can see why. And take a look at how high they put those trees for them. They put the trees extra high for the Gerenuk to encourage them to touch on their natural behavior. They'll stand straight up and down on their hind legs, just like a person, stand up on 2 legs and reach extra high into those trees. We do this because, again, we're
Good
trying
one, Norway.
to have them live as they would in the wild. So instead of just standing on all fours and munching on food, it's a way they have to stand up and build that muscle in those back legs that they would build out in the wild. On our left-hand side, we have our Skyfari tram. So remember, I mentioned this at the beginning of the tour. And if you find yourself on this side of the zoo, at the end of your day, I do recommend to take that Skyfari back to the exit. It will cut a lot of walking, and it will drop you closer to the exit than any one of our buses. On our right-hand side, now we have our 4D theater. That's where you can check out our movies Rio or Smallfoot. Really fun experience, especially for the kids in there. And on our left-hand side, this is where our mountain lions live. We have a male and female mountain lion. And let's see. I will say I usually just see them later in the evening. But I think mountain lions are some of the coolest cats. They have one of the widest terrestrial ranges of any mammal. They live all over the Americas, all the way from Canada down into South America. They live at high elevations and low elevations. And because they're from so many different places, they go by over 40 different names. If you ever hear of a cat being referred to as a puma, a panther, or a cougar, those are just a few of the names that the mountain lions go by. It's all regional on what they're called. All right, now on our right, this is where the maned wolves live. And let's see, I will say they're also most active during dawn and dusk, so it's kind of a running theme. So if you find yourself over here later today, make sure to check out our mountain lions. Oh, but we do have one of our maned wolves. He's just up against the fence in the back by that bamboo. That's where they like to sleep a lot. But you'll notice their habitat really showcases their exhibit really showcases the habitat of the grassland. They are from South America, from the grasslands down there. And as we come by, you might catch a nice skunky scent. That skunky scent is coming from the maned wolves. It does usually confuse a lot of people, but that scent is used to help mark their territory. All right, now let's head into the Elephant Odyssey. Our first animals will be here on our left. There are adorable rock hyraxes, and I'm very excited because I found out today that we have 5 baby rock hyraxes, and they're about the same size as little potatoes. So keep your eyes out for them. Oh, we do have one in this third cage area. We do see one running around in there. Again, they're like the size of a little potato. Now, our rock hyraxes, like I said, they're pretty cute. I always think they look like guinea pigs. But one crazy fact about them is their closest relative is actually the elephant and the manatee. This was determined because they have a similar skull structure, similar teeth, and similar claws to those found in the elephant and manatee. That's how they determined all 3 of them came from one common ancestor. They all evolved from that. So pretty crazy how evolution works. On our right now, we have our African lions. We do have Ernest, our male, up top, taking his cat nap. Now, lions can sleep up to 20 hours a day, so he's doing what he loves. We also have Miss Ellen, his sister, in here. Let's see if we can find her. Not seeing our female. But as I was saying, we do have our male and female in here, and you'll notice a lot of our large cats do live solitary they live solitary here at the zoo. However, lions are very different because they live in prides out in the wild. They're very social. So we never want a solitary animal a social animal living solitary here at the zoo. So that is why those 2 have been paired up. They actually recently came to us from our safari park. Those 2 are only about 5 years old. All right, now let's see, as I was talking about very solitary cats, we're going to look for Nindiri. She's our female jaguar. She's the only one in here because they are very territorial, and we do have her basking in the sun. So we'll come up here and you can see her sleeping just under this tree there. I think she's gorgeous. Now, Nindiri, you'll see she's kind of small. Jaguars are one of the smaller large cats. However, don't let that size fool you. They are incredibly powerful animals. They have one of the strongest jaw strengths of any mammal. They can snap a bowling ball in half with their jaw. So not to be messed with, and that is how they kill their prey. They are skull crushers. And right down below, you'll see one of my favorite things they do is you'll see that creek in there. They pump live tilapia into the creek so she can exhibit her natural behavior of hunting and fishing. So pretty cool if you could say you've seen a jaguar doing that. Alright, now we are in the Elephant Odyssey. So let's see if we can find our 4 lovely ladies. We do have 4 elephants, all females. We have 2 Asian and 2 African elephants. Let's see up here. We find, it looks like they're kind of behind us. So I'm going to slow down here. You might be able to peek behind, see one of our girls walking around. I just caught a glimpse of her. We have 2.5 acres for them to roam about, so sometimes it's a little bit like a scavenger hunt finding them. So we'll come up here, we'll come around the corner, see if we can see if our other girls are in the other part of our exhibit. But you'll see as we do come around this corner on our right-hand side, this big building, this is our Elephant Care Center. So this is where the elephants are going to get their daily body checks and their daily pedicures from their keepers. They are trained with positive reinforcement training, different presents so the keepers can look them over. And you'll see it's all protected contact between them. Elephants are incredibly intelligent animals, so those training sessions they have throughout the day are really important for their mental stimulation. And I do see one of our elephants in the distance, so we'll get a better view of her really quick. But I'm going to slow down here, and we're going to check out Stella, our secretary bird. She's this beautiful gray bird checking out our bus. Or she was checking out our bus. There she is. Now, she has some long legs. Secretary birds can get up to 4.5 feet tall. They use those long, powerful legs to help kill their prey. So they're terrestrial birds of prey, which means they hunt, but they hunt on the ground. They're capable of flying. They just prefer the ground. And it is called the secretary bird stomp. However, I think of it really more of a kick. And that's what they use to kill snakes and insects, are a big part of their diet. So pretty impressive to have a strong enough and precise enough kick to kick a snake, kill it, and then they slurp it up whole. That other little guy flying around in there, he's Rico. He is our magpie. They make great roommates for one another. All right, now as we come up here, we're gonna just peek behind us. I think we're gonna get a nice view of one of our girls. I just saw her. There she is. That's Mary. She's one of our Asian elephants. Now, as I was saying, we do have 2 African and 2 Asian elephants. Does anybody know how to tell the difference between those 2 types? It is their ears. So like I was saying, this is our Asian elephant, Mary. So she has those really small, kind of floppy ears of the Asian elephant. You'll see African elephants have much bigger ears. They use those really big ears to help expel heat. So they actually will pump a lot of blood into those ears, and it's really thin. The skin's really thin. They'll flap those ears to cool off that blood, and then pump the rest of that cool blood back into their body. So it's like a whole built-in air conditioning system. And you can also see Mary there. She's playing with that puzzle feeder with that grate on the side of that concrete tree. There's quite a few of those scattered throughout their exhibit. You can see a lot of different toys hanging off the tree. Those are all forms of puzzle feeders. And again, it's a great way our keepers came up with to create that enriching experience. You can see more of them here on our right-hand side. So instead of the elephants just sitting and munching on food all day, it's a way they have to go find and work and think for their food. All of them work separately, or pardon me, differently. And the one Mary was playing with, they actually have to work that chain a lot to get the food to fall out. All right, now on our right, we're coming up on our dromedary camels and our pronghorns. And it does look like you can just barely see them towards the front of the bus up against that barn there as I come by. If you want to just look kind of towards the front, we're not getting the best view of them. But dromedary does mean one hump, so they have just that one big hump on top. A lot of people think they store water in those humps, but it's not water, it is fat. However, they can go weeks without drinking water, and they can drink gallons of water in one sitting, which is very helpful out in the Middle East where they're from, a very dry climate. I've actually been lucky enough to work hands-on with dromedary camels, and they're very fun animals to work with. I will say my favorite thing I learned about them is how they greet each other. So they greet each other by blowing in each other's faces. Every morning we'd blow in our camel's face, get a nice big camel breath back, and I can tell you they don't have minty fresh breath, but it was a very fun experience nevertheless. And to keep them extremely interested in us, we chew different flavors of gum because they were so into scent. All right, now on our right-hand side, we do have our California condors. These California condors, keep an eye on them. Sometimes they don't look too much in the mood right now, but when they do take flight, their wingspan gets up to 10 feet wide, which will be wider than this bus. So our California condors, though, they represent one of our biggest conservation success stories we've had here at the zoo. Back in the 1980s, there were only 22 California condors left in the world. Unfortunately, this was mostly due to lead poisoning. Hunters were using lead ammunition, and California condors were scavengers, so they were eating the remnants of what those hunters were killing, ingesting that lead. So our researchers made the tough decision to go out. They gathered up the remaining 22 birds. They then started an extensive breeding program. And luckily, it really paid off. We now have over 400 California condors. We have over 300 released out into the wild. And then we have another 100 in zoos and breeding programs throughout the U.S., still increasing those numbers. So that we're very proud of that. That's what we strive to do here, is leading the fight for our animals. And another great news for those California condors is lead ammunition was recently banned here in California.
Good.
All right, now let's head towards Africa Rocks. And as we do, we'll slow down here, and I do see some of our meerkats out right now. We have 11 meerkats in here. Oh, we have the ones on guard. You can see them stoic right there, looking up. As I was saying, we have 11 in here, though. They live in groups of up to about 30 in the wild. They live in these large groups because they're very social, very organized. They all have their own jobs. You need all the help you can get when you're that small. Now, as I was saying, though, you can see those two are on guard, and you might have noticed they really tend to look up a lot. Hawks are one of their main predators, and we do have hawks here, so they're always on alert. A large group of meerkats like this is called a mob or a gang. So they sound very ruthless, and they are led by an alpha couple, with the female being the ultimate alpha. All right, now let's head down into Africa Rocks. Africa Rocks is one of the newest areas of our zoo. It showcases the different habitats found in Africa. A lot of people think of it as just a dry savanna, but there's a real diversity of habitats to check out. And we're going to see our Klipspringer. I rarely get to see these guys from our bus. So on our right, this is called the Kofi habitat, where you can see our Klipspringers standing tall there, and check out their hooves. So those hooves are about the diameter of a dime. And so it's really awesome to watch them balance off the slick rocks of the Kofi. But they can, because those hooves are rounded and are kind of rubbery, so they can stick on to those rocks, kind of like wearing a rubber-soled shoe. You might also notice, I think I saw one of our dwarf mongoose running around in there. And the rock hyraxes, remember the ones related to the elephants? They also live in the Kofi habitat. I don't know if anybody has been keeping up. We have a new documentary on Animal Planet. It's called The Zoo. Has anybody been able to check that out? Anybody heard about that? You can look it up. It's really, really awesome. You get to see all the behind the scenes that happens here. And you'll also learn a lot about a lot of our babies being born. And one of the episodes was all about our baby Klipspringer. So we do have a baby Klipspringer back there. I would say about 6 months old now. So very fun to see those babies. On our right-hand side, this is, as I was saying, all of Africa Rocks. We'll take a nice perimeter tour of it on the bus, but if you haven't had a chance yet, I do recommend a pedestrian walkthrough. It is gorgeous. You get to check out those different habitats, the different animals, and the different plants that live within those specific habitats. A lot of thought was put into it. It is a very fun exhibit. And if you do head down there, I would recommend starting from this side and working your way downhill the whole time, rather than uphill. As we come up the other side, you'll see what I'm talking about. We'll climb the hill. On our right, this is all part of our Australian outback, so you might see some of our female koalas in there. We'll get a little better view of our male koalas as we come up the other side of Africa Rocks. But if you do see them in there, they are probably sleeping. They sleep about 21 to 22 hours a day. So if you see an awake koala, count yourself lucky. On our right now, you'll see into the urban jungle. Now, we don't head in there on our bus tour. However, you can see if you look in there, that big orange bus coming at us. That is our kangaroo bus. So those kangaroo bus, it's a great transportation system around the zoo. It is a hop-on, hop-off bus that will take you to 4 different stops. That is bus stop number 1 in the urban jungle. That will be the closest bus stop to our unloading stop. And you can use the same ticket you used to get onto this bus to get onto those buses. So once again, once you're tired of walking up and down these hills, it's just a great way to travel around the zoo. And they will run until about the zoo closing. The last one to start truck stop 1 at 5:30. All right, now we're heading down into Center Street. This is also nicknamed Bear Canyon. So we will be checking out some of our bears. But first, we'll slow down here. Oh, and we have our snow leopards out. These 2 are my favorites in this whole zoo. I've said that a few times, but these 2 take the cake. So we have Ramil and Penny up here. I haven't seen them in a few days. So anyway, this is Ramil, our male, and Penny, our female. They are a breeding pair. We have our fingers crossed for a snow leopard cub. We haven't had one in over 20 years. Now, you can't tell right now because they're taking their naps, but they are very sweet together. They really like each other. As you can see, I mean, they are sharing a platform at least. Oh, Penny woke up. That's our female there in the front. And snow leopards, I just think they're really cool cats because they're very well adapted to their environment. They are from the Himalayas in the wild. So it takes a lot to live at such cold temperatures and at such high elevations. But they're well adapted. One thing, they have really long tails. Their tails can get up to 90% the length of their body, which is one of the longest tails of any large cat. And they use that tail to balance off the slick rocks of the Himalayas so they can chase their prey at top speed and really just balance well, very well. And then also a bunch of just small things, like their paws are really, really big, like built-in snowshoes. And even, you can kind of see her nose there, they have really, really big nostrils. And that allows for extra oxygen absorption at those really high elevations of the Himalayas. All right, we'll creep up, but I just think these guys are gorgeous. And again, that is Penny looking at us. I can tell because Ramil, our male, he actually has an eye missing. He had his eye removed due to glaucoma. He was suffering from glaucoma for about 2 years. They treated it with daily eye drops, but it did get to a point where they had to surgically remove the eye. But since then, he has been thriving. So we are very happy with those results. All right, now let's see if we have our grizzly bears out. We have 2 grizzly bears. We have Scout and Montana. They share these next 2 exhibits, and they are brothers. They're both about 11 years old. Do you guys see them? Oh, okay, they're right. I was going to say, I can't quite see them. I know the sun's kind of tough right now, too. Now, I'll creep forward, but as I was saying, Scout and Montana, both about 11 years old. They are brothers. They were rescued as cubs from Idaho. Down up there, their mom was teaching them some pretty bad habits. Their mom was teaching them to go dumpster diving. So that won't end well for bears or for humans. Oh, we got one of them snoozing in the back here. But, so it wouldn't end well for the bears or for humans. So these guys were brought in, give it a nice safe home, and they've been sharing these 2 exhibits for about the past 11 years. And grizzly bears tend to be solitary in the wild. However, these guys have such a strong brotherly bond, they didn't want to be separated. So that's why those 2 are still together, even though they're already 11 years old. All right, now let's see if we have our Andean bears. We'll be on our right-hand side. We have Alba, our female. She's in this. Let's see. She's in the back. So she's in the back. She's out in the back left corner in that hay bed way up top there. You can see we have Turbo, our male Andean bear. He's in this next exhibit. Oh, and he's in his favorite lounging spot. You can see him in this little hammock made of recycled fire hose. He's resting his head right now. Now, as I was saying, this is our male Andean bear. These guys love to climb and they love to sleep up high, just like both of them are showing right now. That's why they have all those different platforms and hammocks to choose from to sleep in. They are from South America. They're the only bear species to be from South America. And because of that nice warm climate they have year-round, they're one of the only bear species that do not hibernate as well. Now, we've seen a lot of animals on our tour.
Meeting everybody, that was the best part.
Like our Andean bears here, our jaguars, our mountain lions, and our Maine wolves. Now, these are all really awesome animals that unfortunately are suffering in the wild, mostly due to habitat loss. A lot of their habitat is being destroyed for farming.
Yeah, I got to see Jenna. I got to hang out with her for a bit.
We can help them out, really simple ways. One is when we go grocery shopping, maybe look for that locally sourced produce. So that's produce grown in the USA.
It was fun, but I was doing my own thing most of the time, dude.
Those faraway farmlands. You can even go more local, like the local farmers market. Another great way is if you're a coffee drinker, look into shade-grown coffee. So the shade-grown means the beans are grown in the shade of forests, so there's no habitat destroyed. These beans are also quite a bit healthier for you. They do use a lot less chemical fertilizers on them. So not only will it be helping save all those habitats,
a little bit, but she still doesn't feel good,
And I found that
I'm glad she went though.
Seems
like she had a good time too, so.
A similar concept is
yeah, this is the zoo. I'm at the San Diego Zoo.
On our right hand side, I am slowing down because we have our gibbon. He's kind of hard to see right now. He has black fur. If you see that little canopy in the very center, kind of that little roof, you'll see him just hanging out right under there. The gibbons are referred to as the lesser ape, so they are apes, but they're not part of the great ape. They have these really long arms. Those arms are used to swing treetop to treetop out in the wild. And so whenever we look for the gibbons, we always want to look up high like that. They're rarely found.
Oh, I see
down
him
on
way
the
up there.
ground.
You guys see him?
And that black one in there, he
Far
is
back?
our male. If we see the blonde one,
There he is, he's
is
swinging.
going to be our female. So let's come around this corner. We'll see if we can find our girl on the left-hand side of the exhibit. Now I will say my favorite thing about our gibbons is actually their vocalization. They have a beautiful vocalization. It's really not what you would expect. It kind of sounds like a siren. Oh, they're swinging now. You might have just kind of glimpsed there in the very front left-hand corner. Our male came all the way over here, and I think I saw our female as well. Now they're kind of hidden. I just saw one of them swinging. It's really fun to see them swinging from those extra long arms. But as I was saying, they do have a really awesome vocalization. If you ever join us early in the morning, right around 9 o'clock as soon as we open, I would encourage you to keep your ears open. You can usually hear that vocalization echoing throughout the park. And if you don't have that chance, I even just recommend you can look it up online, the gibbon vocalization. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. All right, now let's head up Africa Rock. We have Cape Pine Grass here on the left-hand side. Cape Pine Grass is the habitat found off the southern coast of Africa. It has the rare Mediterranean climate that we have here in San Diego. But one big difference is they have the African penguins living there. So you can see them on our left now. You can see a couple of them out right now. And you might be able to find our leopard sharks in that underwater viewing area. They do share that exhibit. Now, we got some of our penguins coming out of the water. And it might look kind of weird having a penguin species surviving that warm Mediterranean climate, but they are well adapted to it. If you see this little picture on the right side of their exhibit, you can see that little pink spot above their eye. That pink spot is a bald patch, and that's where they expel heat. So the hotter the penguin gets, the pinker that spot's gonna get. So it's kind of like when we're hot and we blush, these penguins blush as well. And we are very excited because we have two baby penguins. Their names are Doug and Barbara. They're the first penguins to be born at our zoo. We've only recently started their breeding program because their numbers are dropping in the wild, mostly due to overfishing. So we started that breeding program, but we also have people down in Africa doing rehabilitation and release. And as we head up this hill, this is all of Africa Rocks on our left-hand side. And remember, I mentioned walking downhill the whole time rather than uphill. You can see the hill I'm talking about. And we do have one of our vervet monkeys. He's facing right at our bus. Those guys are always fun to see. Again, those are our vervet monkeys. And if you do explore down here, you'll see they live right next to, we have 6 different species of lemurs. Now, lemurs are endemic to Madagascar. So that means you'll only find lemurs out in the wild on that very tiny island of Madagascar. Then we have our baboons down here. We have our dwarf crocodile. We also have our leopards. We have Oscar, he's our spotted leopard. And then we have Mystique. She is our melanistic leopard. Melanistic means she is all black. It is an awesome trait. It's a very rare genetic trait found in large cats. So she is breathtaking. And it's fun to see the contrast between Mystique and Oscar. And if you do check out our melanistic leopard, then you can say you've seen a black panther. A black panther does refer to any large cat with that melanistic trait. All right, on our right-hand side, we have made a nice big circle. We are back to our male koalas. You'll notice our male koalas live by themselves. They have their own little area, own little tree. They're very territorial, very solitary. And as I was saying before, they sleep most of the day. You might have one of those very front. They like to snuggle up in that eucalyptus. But they do sleep most of the day due to their diet. So their diet is strictly eucalyptus. They eat a wide variety of it and can even be picky about what types of eucalyptus, but they will only eat eucalyptus. Now, Now, eucalyptus isn't very nutritious. It doesn't provide them with a lot of energy. It's also extremely hard to digest. So most of the energy they do have is going to go right back to digesting that food. So you might be wondering, why on earth do koalas eat eucalyptus? It's because it's toxic to most other animals. Other animals cannot digest it. So there's really no competition for it out in the wild. It just ends up not being a very well-rounded, nutritious diet. So they sleep most of the day. And you'll see as we come up on our right-hand side, on the other side of the sidewalk, you might be able to see our female koalas again. If you want to get great views of them, I recommend coming back to our Australian outback back here. The pedestrian walkthrough does get you very close. You might also notice I'm not calling them koala bears. This is because they're not bears, they are marsupials. So they help carry around, they have that pouch to help carry around their young. Another very popular marsupial we have here at our zoo is our red kangaroo. Now, as I was saying, we have made a nice big circle, so we're coming back to the urban jungle. At the urban jungle is where you're going to find our kangaroo bus stop #1, and that's where you'll find our actual kangaroo as well. He'll be kind of tucked in the back of the urban jungle. You'll also find, if you explore in there, you'll see our cheetahs. Our cheetahs do live alongside their companion, which is a puppy dog. And this is the entrance here on our right that I'm talking about, into the urban jungle and Australian outback. But you'll see our cheetahs back there, kangaroo, greater one-horned rhinoceros is back there. And we have our giraffes. We have 5 adult giraffes and 2 baby giraffes. Those 2 babies are only about 4 months old. And they're walking around, walking around alongside their mamas back there. And they're still the smallest ones in the exhibit, so it's very clear which ones are the babies. And we are approaching the unloading dock now, so once you hop off, you make a left-hand turn. That's how you'll head back behind us to that urban jungle. If you make a right-hand turn off the bus, that's how you'll head back to the main plaza. At the main plaza is where you'll see signs for Treetops Way. Down Treetops Way is where you'll find our gorillas, orangutans, and most of our other primates. So the Lost Forest and the urban jungle are the 2 big areas of the zoo that we don't get to see here on the bus. I would like to thank you guys for taking some time to take our guided bus tour today. I know it can be a little overwhelming to hear about so many different animals endangered out in the wild, but I do hope that you guys gain some hope by taking this tour, hearing about those different global projects and breeding programs we are a part of, and knowing we can't do any of that without your support, without our guests, our members, and our donors. I'd also like to personally thank you for taking my tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to be letting out my lower deck first, and then I'll run up and let out my upper deck. So again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, and if you have any questions, I'll be hanging out.
Too much, but saw some of them.
Are you lifting or down?
Oh, wait,
Sorry.
Oh, this is where we are.
Welcome back, guys. We got photos taken. Stop by and check them out.
Go this way. I know she said left. No, right.
Gotta see what time it is. But I still got a lot of time. Cool. That was, I mean, we saw some of the animals, not all of them, though. Last time I was in San Diego, I didn't really go to this zoo. So, at least we get to see some of the shit today. Walk this way.
That's not the one.
Because they're like jumping around.
I'm taking Outback now.
Do you hear it?
We're going back to the front. There's another Mira, a ver.
Yeah, we just finished it, right?
It doesn't matter. I think it's more something.
Not sure. Oh, we can go over here.
This way.
Yep.
way, you're not drinking.
Carl's next week, and then it'll be Miguel.
There's another one over there. This one's actually the best view though.
Because we took her to a vegan school. Let's go to the girls.
Well, they should have flown. Well, they should have flown to Africa. Oh, no, they're right
It's on the tree.
Georgie?
No, exactly. What?
He's dinging around again. He's a chicken.
Maybe it's
Oh my God. I remember younger.
Look, he's even licking his toes.
Villains are monkeys.
I'm going to see some tigers.
Good.
You want to become a wildlife hero today?
Sorry?
You want to become a wildlife hero today? You know what it is?
No.
So here at the zoo we have a project called the Wildlife Hero Project. We're actually helping 162 animals around the world. One of the core projects that we got going on is the northern white rhinos. Still females left, but we have frozen skin cells, and we're actually taking the stem cells converting them into sperm and eggs and using other rhinos as surrogates. And it actually works. We have one baby rhino at the safari park that was born through that process. And what it is, when heroes sign up, it's a small monthly gift. And all the money that we receive, 95 cents of each dollar goes back to the conservation work that we do out in the wild. None of it stays in here. And that's how we keep our projects funded and running to keep on saving the animals. Our suggested minimum is 10, but people can do it lower than that or whatever they feel is comfortable in their budget. And that's why we're here. That's part of our job. And if it's something that interests you, I'd love to get you on board. We actually do it here. It takes about a minute.
I'm good.
All right, sounds good.
But thanks for letting me know.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. I didn't realize how much walking I'd end up having to do here. What is this? Oh. Alright, this signal's kind of garbage. Not gonna lie. But, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now, because I haven't had dinner or anything, so... I might end it, go grab dinner, and then come back on, or I find a place to get dinner, and then I come back on. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I will be back on in a little bit.
Oh my god, I
Once
thought
I
that
figure
was
out what I'm
real.
doing exactly, though. I gotta figure out what I'm doing. Anyway,